Welcome to Actuate Biomedicine's Biomedical Knowledge Translation Faucet. Our mission is to bridge the gap between scientific research and practical healthcare applications, ensuring that the latest advancements improve patient care, health outcomes, and public health. Biomedical knowledge translation involves turning cutting-edge biomedical research into tangible solutions for healthcare systems. At Actuate Biomedicine, we specialize in this process, ensuring that scientific breakthroughs reach those who need them most. We host our Learn to Earn sessions every Tuesday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. East African Time. Each cohort participates in an 8-week program designed to guide learners through the 7 stages of biomedical knowledge translation. The 7 stages include exploration, where we identify new research and innovations; evaluation, assessing the potential impact and feasibility; planning, developing strategies for implementation; development, creating practical applications and solutions; implementation, integrating these solutions into healthcare settings; another round of evaluation, monitoring and assessing effectiveness; and finally, distribution, ensuring wide access to the final products. Our learners gain in-depth knowledge and practical skills, empowering them to translate biomedical research into real-world applications. Through our program, we aim to foster a new generation of experts who will drive advancements in healthcare. Join us at Actuate Biomedicine's Biomedical Knowledge Translation Faucet. Together, we can make a significant impact on healthcare and public health. Learn, earn, and contribute to a healthier future. Be a part of the change. Transform knowledge into action with Actuate Biomedicine. Welcome to Actuate Biomedicine's Biomedical Knowledge Translation Faucet. Our mission is to bridge the gap between scientific research and practical healthcare applications, ensuring that the latest advancements improve patient care, health outcomes, and public health. Biomedical knowledge translation involves turning cutting-edge biomedical research into tangible solutions for healthcare systems. At Actuate Biomedicine, we specialize in this process, ensuring that scientific breakthroughs reach those who need them most. We host our Learn to Earn sessions every Tuesday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. East African Time. Each cohort participates in an 8-week program designed to guide learners through the 7 stages of biomedical knowledge translation. The 7 stages include exploration, where we identify new research and innovations; evaluation, assessing the potential impact and feasibility; planning, developing strategies for implementation; development, creating practical applications and solutions; implementation, integrating these solutions into healthcare settings; another round of evaluation, monitoring and assessing effectiveness; and finally, distribution, ensuring wide access to the final products. Our learners gain in-depth knowledge and practical skills, empowering them to translate biomedical research into real-world applications. Through our program, we aim to foster a new generation of experts who will drive advancements in healthcare. Join us at Actuate Biomedicine's Biomedical Knowledge Translation Faucet. Together, we can make a significant impact on healthcare and public health. Learn, earn, and contribute to a healthier future. Be a part of the change. Transform knowledge into action with Actuate Biomedicine. Welcome to Actuate Biomedicine's Biomedical Knowledge Translation Faucet. Our mission is to bridge the gap between scientific research and practical healthcare applications, ensuring that the latest advancements improve patient care, health outcomes, and public health. Biomedical knowledge translation involves turning cutting-edge biomedical research into tangible solutions for healthcare systems. At Actuate Biomedicine, we specialize in this process, ensuring that scientific breakthroughs reach those who need them most. We host our Learn to Earn sessions every Tuesday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. East African Time. Each cohort participates in an 8-week program designed to guide learners through the 7 stages of biomedical knowledge translation. The 7 stages include exploration, where we identify new research and innovations; evaluation, assessing the potential impact and feasibility; planning, developing strategies for implementation; development, creating practical applications and solutions; implementation, integrating these solutions into healthcare settings; another round of evaluation, monitoring and assessing effectiveness; and finally, distribution, ensuring wide access to the final products. Our learners gain in-depth knowledge and practical skills, empowering them to translate biomedical research into real-world applications. Through our program, we aim to foster a new generation of experts who will drive advancements in healthcare. Join us at Actuate Biomedicine's Biomedical Knowledge Translation Faucet. Together, we can make a significant impact on healthcare and public health. Learn, earn, and contribute to a healthier future. Be a part of the change. Transform knowledge into action with Actuate Biomedicine. Welcome to Actuate Biomedicine's Biomedical Knowledge Translation Faucet. Our mission is to bridge the gap between scientific research and practical healthcare applications, ensuring that the latest advancements improve patient care, health outcomes, and public health. Biomedical knowledge translation involves turning cutting-edge biomedical research into tangible solutions for healthcare systems. At Actuate Biomedicine, we specialize in this process, ensuring that scientific breakthroughs reach those who need them most. We host our Learn to Earn sessions every Tuesday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. East African Time. Each cohort participates in an 8-week program designed to guide learners through the 7 stages of biomedical knowledge translation. The 7 stages include exploration, where we identify new research and innovations; evaluation, assessing the potential impact and feasibility; planning, developing strategies for implementation; development, creating practical applications and solutions; implementation, integrating these solutions into healthcare settings; another round of evaluation, monitoring and assessing effectiveness; and finally, distribution, ensuring wide access to the final products. Our learners gain in-depth knowledge and practical skills, empowering them to translate biomedical research into real-world applications. Through our program, we aim to foster a new generation of experts who will drive advancements in healthcare. Join us at Actuate Biomedicine's Biomedical
Hello, good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our 5th session of Biomedical Knowledge Translation. I can see our top master is not in, so let me text him on WhatsApp and see whether he's on.
All right, so today we are on ideation. Ideation of biomedical knowledge. Oh, ideation. ideation in biomedical knowledge. So this is quite exciting. And of course, we're talking about funding. How do you fund ideation in biomedical knowledge? Which is so ideation stage comes out of formulation. And these stages have got serious difficulties getting money because if you're talking about money from private investors, the private investors themselves cannot see where the idea is going because private investors, they want you to promise them profit. Looking for profits, not too long. Between ideation, product ideation to between product ideation and the product in the market is a long way that can take even up to 5 years. People, it's particularly when people are considering investments, they don't have such a long-term horizon. So ideation, the ideation, just like the processes that are before it, from exploration, exteriorization, formulation, and then ideation requires patient capital. Patient capital. And that's money that's willing to wait for 5, 10
Hello,
years.
Doctor.
Yes. So
Our topic master is almost. You told me to give him amenities coming in. He's trying to join.
okay, yeah. So we are talking about highly patient capital that someone is willing to wait for 10 years, 10 years, in some cases even 20 years. And even and of course in the long term. So it's long-term financing patient capital. I can tell you, for example, Amazon.com, which was, Jeff Bezos gave me the idea of Amazon in 1994. Amazon did not report profit until 2010. Between 1994 and 2010, the investors could not expect any dividends. See? So how many years are those? 2014, that's 16 years of waiting. And so 16 years is a typical wait period between ideation and, you could say, revenue or return on investment. So what does a person do? So anyway, Grace, Gary, you can.
Yeah.
We can't hear anything. Grace, you have so much. There's so much static. We can't hear you. We can hear you what you're saying, but with a lot of static. Every word is coming broken up. Okay, just continue speaking. Maybe it's going to get.
Yeah, I was saying that I was welcoming people for the 5th session of Biomedical Knowledge Translation. Our today's theme is exploring quadratic funding in the ideation stage of Biomedical Knowledge Translation. So Isaac Moremi will be taking us through the quadratic funding in the ideation stage of Biomedical Knowledge Translation. Then Dr. Masharia will take over for additional notes and also insights. Then you're going to have a session for question and answer. Then we're going to conclude our meeting. So without further ado, let me welcome Moremi to continue. Welcome.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. It's been a fine week.
Remy, you have dropped.
You're muted.
Or did he mute himself?
Oh, I'm sorry. My network is is a bit. Hello, I hope you can hear me now.
Yes,
Okay,
we can.
so I'm going to take you through exploring quadratic funding in the ideation stage of biomedical knowledge translation. In the ever-evolving landscape of biomedical research and innovation, finding effective ways to fund and support groundbreaking ideas is crucial. The ideation stage, where new concepts and theories are developed, is a particularly vital phase that requires a significant resource to transform innovative ideas into viable solutions. One emerging method of funding that has generated attention in recent years is quadratic funding, a novel approach that offers a promising way to democratize and optimize resource allocation. So, how do we understand quadratic funding? So, quadratic funding is a mechanism that that allocates funds based on the square root of the amount contributed by individuals, donors, rather than a linear matching of donation. This approach amplifies the influence of smaller contribution, ensuring that projects with broad but shallow supportive receive more funding relative to projects supported by a few large donors. This method not only democratizes the funding process, but also encourages a more diverse range of ideas to receive attention and resources. So, you may be asking, what is the relevance of quadratic funding in biomedical knowledge translation? This is it. The application of quadratic funding in the biomedical knowledge translation process, especially during the addition stage, can have profound implication. Biomedical knowledge translation involves converting scientific research into practical applications that can improve health outcomes. The ideation stage is where initial research findings are explored and potential applications are identified. This stage often involves interdisciplinary collaboration, novel methodologies, and high-risk ideation that may not yet have solid background or rather backing from traditional funding sources. So, quadratic funding can support this critical phase by, we have three. So number one is encouraging diverse contributions. Number two, promoting equity in research. Number three, fostering innovation solutions. So I'm going to take you through each one of them. So number one is encouraging diverse contributions. By amplifying smaller contributions, quadratic funding allows a more comprehensive set of stakeholders to participate in the funding process. This can include early career researchers, patient advocacy group, and the general public, all of whom may have a vested interest in specific areas of biomedical research. Number two, promoting equity in research. Traditional funding models often favor well-established researchers and institutes. Quadratic funding levels the playing field by ensuring that promising ideas from underrepresented groups or emerging scientists receive fair consideration based on community interested rather than institutional prestige. Number three, fostering innovative solutions. The ideation stage is ripe with high-risk, high-reward projects that may struggle to secure funding through conventional means. Quadratic funding can provide the necessary resources to explore these innovative ideas, potentially leading to breakthrough that traditional funding models might overlook. So, I'm going to take you also through implementing quadratic funding at Actuate Biomedicine. At Actuate Biomedicine, we recognize the transformative potential of quadratic funding. The biomedical knowledge translation process is integrated by approaching into our funding strategy. We aim to, number one, to expand our funding base. This is by engaging a broader community of contributors, including patients, healthcare professionals, and the general public in the funding processes. Number two, diversify our portfolio. Supporting a wider range of projects, particularly those in the early stages of development, is often overlooked by conventional funding mechanisms. Hence, we are diversifying our portfolio. Number three, accelerating innovation. By providing resources to projects with broader community support, we can accelerate the translation of groundbreaking research into practical applications that improve health outcomes. So I may give you an example of a recent occurrence that happened to one of my friends. So my friend is a writer. So he went to the publishing KICD in Kenya, so that the book that he had been writing for over 7 months and has taken about 3 months of review, so that that book can be published. Unfortunately, they were not able to fund that book because they said that this person is new to the market, so he does not understand the market scope. So I believe that when quadratic funding is used, for example, in that occurrence, this person could have received a fair opportunity and a fair shot so that he can publish his own book, because that book, actually, I read it and it is a good book. So it would have encouraged or promote equity in research, especially for that book. Then, as we continue to explore and implement quadratic funding, we invite our community to participate in the exciting journey. By supporting diverse and innovative ideas, we can collectively contribute to advancing biomedical knowledge and improving health outcomes worldwide. In conclusion, quadratic funding represents a promising new avenue for supporting the ideation stage of biomedical knowledge translation. By democratizing the funding process, promoting equity, and fostering innovation, this approach can help bridge the gap between research and practical application. At Actuate Biomedicine, we are committed to leveraging this innovative funding model to support groundbreaking research and improve health outcomes for all. Thank you for listening to me. I'm giving back this particular moment to Grace so that he may welcome Doc. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Muremi, for that wonderful presentation. Thank you for letting us know more about what quadratic funding and also the relevance of quadratic funding in the biomedical knowledge translation. Thank you so much. So I will welcome Doc for additional notes, additional comments on the above topic. Yeah, thank you, Doc. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Grace. So we are now at ideation stage. And as you've heard, ideation is still very, very early. And it brings a lot of problems in funding. Ideation stage. And I think this is where we get defeated, face down in Africa, because we don't have money for ideas. We don't have money. We just have money for politics. Politicians steal the money. And guess what? They are very, very silly people. They are very useless, because what they do, because I was listening to the story of the Eurobond, which they floated the Eurobond in 2014, and then they ate all the money. Can you believe it? Yeah. So they raised $2 billion, and there's no $2 billion at the central bank. Bond is borrowing. So they borrowed money from Europe through the European market, and then they did not even bring the money home for the children to eat. And then, of course, those children are expected to pay back that loan. Now the politicians pocketed the money. That's why it causes a huge desert of money, even for funding ideas. So in the West, say in the United States, majority of the ideas are funded by the government itself. Through what I explained a few weeks ago, or the past few weeks, through the national institutes, like National Science Foundation and the National Institutes of Health. So because ideation is where now you're bringing together the research concepts, the concepts that you have exteriorized from the tacit dimension. Now they have become exteriorized, so becomes tacit. Because once you write those things down, you have documented them, then the concepts are formalized, then knowledge has become tacit. Okay? It's like when you're cooking ugali, you put water, water has boiled, and then you put unga, then the unga has become solid, like ugali. So all you have to wait is to wait for the ugali to eva, to cook, so that you can serve. So the concepts have solidified. The tacit, the knowledge that was tacit, has become explicit. See that? So the knowledge has come from the tacit dimension, which is that place in covered, that place called the abyss, which is covered by the darkness of the deep. And now you have concepts and theories. What are you going to do with those concepts and theories? Of course, you want to take the concepts and theories into the market. One, you can take them into the market in the form of a book, like what Rimi's friend is talking about, trying to publish a book. Of course, even to publish a book, you still find serious roadblocks because you're relying on third party. You're relying on intermediaries to publish your book and distribute the book for you. What if you could do that all by yourself? And then you need some money to do all that work, like to compose all that. Where does it come from? So quadratic funding on the blockchain gives you access to diversify the sources of funds. As you have said, diversity of contributions. In the traditional funding system, there's no diversity. Contributions come from one source. So the biggest problem we have today is everybody competing to get money from one source. We are competing to get money from maybe one organization that finances this. So usually there's a central organization that is financing a particular thing. And that's the way the economy has grown for centuries. That you had all these intermediary organizations which are known as institutions. So institution of financing. And the more the prestigious, because prestigious is a man-made idea, that a certain institution have got more prestige than others. So people want to compete to get into the prestigious organization. See, now in the new economy, I can tell you, the new economy, all that goes away. So quadratic funding, as I've explained many times, is the new economics. You know, the economics of centralization, of going to central institutions, and we affiliate ourselves with them because of their prestige, but it's decentralized economics of randomness, economic of disequilibrium, where anyone, anywhere can participate in contributing funding. The funding does not necessarily have to come from a prestigious organization. So imagine, you don't need the prestigious organization, all you need is funding. So all you need is funding. It doesn't matter whether the funding comes from Mount Elgon, Mount Kenya, Mount whatever. Yeah. So long as the funding is available to help you do the work. And so funding is among the people. The people, your colleagues, your friends and colleagues. That's what fundings and family members, everybody funding. And so quadratic funding is as Isaac has told us, gives us equity. What is equity? Equity means that everybody has equal opportunity for contributing. So you don't have to wait for the person with a deep pocket from a prestigious organization to come. Everybody, regardless of the size of the pocket. And that means that equity in funding research or translating that research ideas and bring them into the market. So you understand that it's a very democratic system, which, because there's equity, it now is going to help to fund projects that are usually overlooked. Because when you have funding that's coming from centralized institutions, the centralized system, those institutions are the ones that decide what's to be funded. So they don't fund the projects they don't fund the ideas that are solving the actual problems of the people. They fund ideas that sound fantastic to them. So they are actually funding their own fantasy. These are ideas that are fantastic to them, and they're not ideas that are solving any specific needs for the people. So if you find most of the ideas are funded today through the centralized finance system, many ideas are geared to solving no real problem. They are just a fantasy of certain people, and then they want to put in a lot of money. But they can fund ideas by a centralized organization if they are going to make a killing. Killing. What's making a killing? Making a killing is that they are going to make the largest profits out of just funding that idea. Remember, in the centralized system, as we were saying yesterday, if somebody is making profits, somebody else is losing. Because instead of it being a win-win situation, it's a win-lose in the zero sums game of Adam Smith. Zero sums. Because it means that for them to make a killing, that word is very revealing. It means that somebody is dying, someone else. So we don't have to make a killing today because we are not killing anyone. So quadratic funding removes that narrative of making a killing. People to invest to make a killing because it's not necessary to kill anybody or anything. So we all make money together. Distributed funding. So quadratic funding helps to even fund ideas that are totally regularly overlooked. Now, if you look in biomedicine, here there's some narrative about rare diseases. You've heard of rare diseases? Of diseases of new diseases. That's how they say it, because when they don't want to finance it, they call them rare diseases, means that they cannot make a profit investing on those diseases. Or maybe they call them emerging diseases. They are not emerging diseases at all. There's no new diseases, as you know, Solomon wrote in the book of what's called Ecclesiastes. There's nothing new under the sun. The diseases that were there during the time of Solomon when he was writing Ecclesiastes are the same diseases that you see today. There is not a single new disease that has shown up. The only thing that is new is listen carefully. The only thing that's new is where we are, which diseases are we funding to combat? Where are we directing the money? So when these centralized institutions decide to fund research on certain diseases, then we can call them emerging diseases. Those diseases have always been there, but they are emerging just because somebody is paying attention to them. They are not emerging. Yes, and so many of the diseases that are called emerging are the diseases that you find in tropical countries in Africa. They're emerging to the consciousness of people living in temperate zones, people living in the West, let's say Western civilization, Western nations. The fact that those diseases are not to be found in Europe or United States, and they can be found in a place like Kenya or Tanzania, they are not emerging at all to the people of Kenya or Tanzania. They have always been there. But for someone living in London, that disease is emerging. And now they're going to write in the biomedical literature that there's new emerging diseases occurring in certain places. Listen, that is a whole lot of nonsense. I can tell you that. It's a narrative. So which now, when they use such narrative, when people say stuff like that, they want to look as if they are doing something new. They are not doing anything new. The only thing that has been lacking is mechanism for funding, for research and ideation, and even commercialization of of solutions to deal with those diseases. Okay, this understanding, imagine about them. It's like somebody saying, coming down to an African village, say like you go to Mount Kenya region, 5 people talking Kikuyu there, and they say there's emerging language called Kikuyu. Can you believe that? This Kikuyu is an emerging language because it's now spoken by Europeans, people of Central Europe. Now, Central Europe, people don't speak Kikuyu. And so when they find people speak Kikuyu, this is emerging language spoken by the people of the region of Mount Kenya around there recently. As if those people just showed up. No, those people have spoken Kikuyu ever since when? Ever since they were there. Okay, it's not emerging. So these languages, like local languages, are just like diseases. Diseases are very local to the people, and even the way they manifest is very local. So there is nothing new under the sun. So there's nothing like emerging disease. Now, the reason why the traditional financing model was not able to shed light into those diseases, because the traditional financing model, the money goes to the problem to do research or to solve the problems that are visible to the person who is funding. So the amount of funding is predicated upon the degree of consciousness of the person who is funding. So a degree of consciousness. So when you're talking about emerging, is that thing is the darkness of the consciousness of that person. But that problem is not in the darkness of consciousness with everybody else. So, and because the traditional funding system was not able to expand the consciousness, that we talk about inclusive consciousness, so we can include the consciousness of everybody, that everybody in the world can participate in contributing ideas. So the ideas are coming from a very few people. And of course, even those people, they may be coming from a lot of people, but those ideas are vetted by very few people who are now the providers of money. And those providers of money, or the people who provide money, they put something called constriction. Constriction. So the money, the flow of money into projects becomes strangulated. So quadratic funding is removing that bottleneck, that strangulation goes away. And so you can see that it brings a certain independence, new form of independence, which is economic independence, where now we are able to talk about solutions for diseases that actually already existed there, but they are not emerging whatsoever. Don't buy that narrative. There's nothing emerging because there's nothing new under the sun. The only thing that looks as if it is emerging is because it's not in the consciousness of certain people who are working in this prestigious organization, because they think that the organizations are very prestigious. What they say is the only thing that is in existence, but that is wrong. Okay, so now in quadratic funding, we are talking about community-based financing, where you have now to understand who is community. Community begins with yourself, your immediate friends, your colleagues, your neighbors, and maybe we can start from the beginning. If you're a student, like our friend with a book at KICB. Now, by the way, Isaac, you're going to tell us what's KICB. You can get them to participate in funding the production of your book, Students, colleagues, classmates, because in quadratic funding, you don't need much money. You need just a little money contributed by many people. So that everybody contributes. See, and that's, I think we are going to examine how we can help your friend publish his book and start selling the book. without having to go to a centralized organization like KICB. So how would he do that? First of all, Isaac, what is KICB? Moremi. KICB stands for what? Hello, can you hear me? Grace, can you hear me?
Yes, I was trying to unmute. Yeah, I can hear you. Yes.
What is KICB? What Isaac talked about?
Pardon?
KICB or publication. He said that his friend took his book to be his manuscript at KICB for publication.
It's a that publishes books, or rather takes a review of your book before it can be published.
What does it stand for? KICB, Kenya Institute of what? Of
It's
Central.
called KIB.
I think
KIB.
it's Kenya Institute of Curriculum-Based Studies. Yeah.
KIBS. So what kind of book is he publishing?
He is publishing a book entitled The Optimism of a Man. Okay, it's, if I may say, it's a story about himself and the challenges that he has faced throughout the small timeline he has. Okay, I may not give the detailed answer, but I can send you a review of that book.
A review of the book itself. Or he doesn't
The
want
book
to.
has because KICD has not approved it yet.
He doesn't need approval by KICB today in the decentralized economy. What can he do to make his book available to the people without having to go through KICB? So the reason he's going to KICB is what?
I think the reason why he went to KICD is because to get number one funds so that the book can be published. Number two, get approval, because when you get a signature from KICD, your book is likely to be sold in large volumes.
Sold by who?
Yeah.
Sold, when you say like to be sold in large volume, is sold by who?
The distributors will be motivated to sell your books because it has been approved by the KICD, because that is the only body that guarantees that book is verified and it's good to be read.
Okay, so it is sanctification. So we can call that. So it gets ordained. So it says the book is in order. So the book gets ordained, that's ordained, and it's good and to be read. But when he wrote his book, him himself, he has verified that the book is good by himself. But he's looking for someone else to give him what? The approval. So this KICB, now this is what I'm talking about. So I want us to understand here. So let's see what time is it, so we don't get over time. So you see, there are these type of organizations that have put themselves between the people and the market. Why is that we believe smart people? What special skills do they have? What special knowledge do they have that is going to say that? But they're calling themselves a body. Yeah, it's the body that when they look at your book and they give it, they nod, then the market opens up according to them. See, that's according to them. Remember, that's just a narrative. It's not the reality. The market really doesn't care about them, but they want to make believe that the market cares about them. And so they tell everybody else that you cannot get in the market except you go through me. Yeah. Now, what could he do to get his book in the market himself? What could he do? Do you have any ideas? Who has ideas? Ideas to get the book in the market and selling, even without KICB coming into place.
I think one, he needs to approve from himself that that book is good. Number two, this guy needs funds, because the only way he can publish the book is by getting funds, and getting funds also to pay the distributors, because I believe that money is the key to most of the things apart from approval or certification. So this guy, if he gets good money,
Mhm.
I think the distribution company will distribute, and you will be able to get a platform to publish the books.
Okay, where did he get the money to write the book? Did he need the money? Did he need money to write the book himself?
My friend used the money he got from HELB. Okay, it's Higher Education Loans Board. He used that book so that he can do the research he needed, so that he can publish the first mswada. Okay, the first review of the book, so that
First.
he can send it to the KICB for reviews.
Okay, so at least he had some money so that he can have a laptop and type the book. Is it typed, or he sent it in handwritten manuscript?
It is typed, because he needed also to get a license, so that he can get copyright claims. He can have those rights.
He had to buy a license. He had to buy the copyrights.
Yeah, he had to pay the copyrights.
And the copyrights, so he had to pay some money for that.
Yeah, it is 1,500.
Okay, and so he was paying that money to another person who holds those copyrights. And what are they going to do with that? So when they sell him that, whatever it is, copyright, what is he buying from them?
For the copyrights,
Yeah,
it's a guarantee that whenever he sends that book to KICB, that book cannot be published unless he authorizes that book to be publicized.
Okay. Okay, and so, okay, let me put it to you today in the 21st century, in 2024, money is not even the problem at all. You don't need any money to do all that work. Okay? Because the people have put processes that have helped you to pay it forward. The only thing you have to worry about is that if you publish a book, how are you going to distribute it? And you can do it. The only thing that you need today is faith and believe. If your book is good, you don't need to go to someone else. Now, it is the market itself, the people who are buying the book, who are going to decide when the market is good, but not an organization in the middle between you and the market. Okay? So, and I know there are some people in this forum, maybe, who knows that you can publish your book at zero costs without spending any money. Get the international book serial number. It's called an IBSN. IBSN, you don't need to pay anybody for that. So if somebody is selling that to you, he's lying. And that's so you can get ISBN, international IBSN, and then you get copyright. Copyright you don't get from anybody else, it's just you. Because somebody else saying that you're giving copyright for you, but you're the one who owns the copyright. So you just write it on your book and say, this book cannot be reproduced except with permission of the author, who is Isaac Moremi. Are you saying there's somebody else who is going to tell you that they're going to own the copyright? Unless, of course, before in the centralized system, books were copyrighted to the publishers. You had intermediary publishers. People who were, say, like the Penguin Press, or maybe say Harvard University Press would be owning the copyright. You see? So, to cut the long story short, this is pretty easy to do today. Okay? When you talk about distribution, is saying that if you publish a book, the book the book publisher, who is now KICB, agrees to print out so many copies at their own cost. So they're going to put up to front the money so that book is available at textbook center. So, or maybe it's going to be available into the university libraries or textbook centers, maybe textbook or the bookshops. So that those hard copies can appear in bookshops. Now, where are today's bookshops? Today bookshops are online. So you don't need to have a physical copy. You just need to have a picture and a description of the book, and then a place to buy it. Okay, so basically what I say, all that process has been removed. It's not just recently. That process has been removed more than 15 years ago, when people introduced something called print on demand. Print on demand, there are people who provide print on demand services. And those print on demand services, all you have to do is upload your manuscript, what you're calling the review. You upload the manuscript onto a website. When you upload that manuscript on the website, that company that does print on demand is going to print copies as people demand those books. And then that company is going to distribute them through the online retail sellers like Amazon.com. So all somebody has to do is double click, find the book online, click on Amazon.com, and the books are delivered to the customers. And if delivery is very far away, because maybe the print on demand company has not established shop in Nairobi, Kenya, then you can have digital distribution of the book. So even from the print on demand companies, they can instruct them to distribute the book digitally, such that students can download them into their laptop. They can download the book, but they cannot share. So all that costs absolutely nothing, 0 shillings to you. But of course, it's not 0 shillings, because you need to have some money to buy the laptop, to type the book, and to upload the book. So it's going to cost you some bundles. And so that is, you actually don't need any money up front. So it is not the money that stops anyone from doing anything today. Now, with the quadratic funding, it becomes even so much easier, because if such a book is allocated certain quantities of Actuate tokens, people can buy those tokens to give money to the publisher, to your friend who is publishing the book. So that becomes self-published, decentralized publishing that is funded with quadratic funding. See? So quadratic funding not only does, first of all, print on demand. Print on demand came way before the blockchain. And now we tie print on demand with a blockchain that is possible now to double the process of funding. That you can use now the quadratic funding mechanism to provide reward to anybody who reads it, who buys your book, whether it's a digital format to download, or anyone who buys the book physical copy, and then they get rewarded with Actuate tokens. So I would like you to now, Moremi, just introduce me to this gentleman so we can work with that process. We figure out how to get him published without having to worry about KICB. Then we get the book distributed worldwide. And of course, this not a book that's based on curriculum. You see, it's about optimism. It's about it's a motivational book. A motivational book you'll get in the national market. There's nobody who doesn't need motivation, from Chinese to Americans to Europeans to Brazilians. So you can have a worldwide market for that book. KICB cannot distribute for you a book. It cannot distribute a book for you beyond the Kenyan borders. But when you're talking about the internet-based book, which is on an online marketplace, it will be distributed everywhere on this planet. Okay? Everywhere. So I can tell you there's nothing holding him back. There's nothing holding you back. And that's why we are here to talk about these things. So you can understand that the money is not the limiting factor. Money is not what is limiting anyone. The only thing limiting you and limiting us, the only thing that limits us is imagination. So, as I said before, there's no scarcity of money, there's abundance of that, resources. The only thing that is not in sufficient abundance is imagination. Okay, so if we now apply our imagination, you can now find out that the market is already there. It's already always present. Okay, and that's what it's about. So let us not be, these people who are, the custodians of the centralized system, institutions, forget them. We become deinstitutionalized and we become decentralized. Okay, that's it for now. So that maybe if they ask questions, but Borimi here, that's a great example. And let us work with that friend of yours and see how we can get the book published. And it will be the market. Maybe you can get it published by the time we're doing this meeting next week. We shall be asking people to go online and buy the book. Okay. Now you start making money like that. All right. So. Back to you, Grace.
Thank you so much, Adolf.
Oh, you're breaking up.
Hello, Doc.
Oh, that static is back.
Can see Murimi is saying that money is not the limiting factor, but imagination is. Then he says that I will connect you with him. Yeah.
Yes, and of course, let's add something else. We published a book called Healthcare on Blockchain, and everyone should buy it. It's online, and I think Frida, if you're here, you can share the link to the Healthcare on Blockchain so people can go and buy it. All right. So I think I want us to have an open mind. Remember when he said that the Spirit of God moved over the waters, and then when it moved, he said, "Let there be light," and there was light. That's what you're talking about, spirit moving. So there's nothing limiting you. You can actually shed light on new things like this. Finding that there's nothing limiting us. That thing that's called spirit that moves over the waters is what's called imagination. Okay? Imagination is a spirit that moves over the waters. Okay. So yeah, back to you, Grace.
Yeah, thank you, Doc, for that. So anyone else with a question, you can also type your question or a comment. Meanwhile, I will be posting the attendance form on the chat box so that you may fill it. Make sure that you fill it before the meeting, before 8. On the announcement is that next week from 7 to 8, we shall be having our session, and we are going to be focusing on the quadratic funding in the next stage of the biomedical knowledge translation. Yeah, so make sure you attend and you kindly keep time. Thank you so much for attending today's meeting. So Moremi is asking whether there are grants for quadratic funding.
Yes, there are grants, definitely. And we're going to reach
Yeah.
there. Going to work. I think next month, which is August, we're going to be working now on that process. Yes. There's money, but Murimi, money today up to now, money really is not really the question. Is that we want to find out how we can actuate that spirit so that it moves over the waters and sheds light on matters. But yes, there's lots of grants all over the place, but we want to work because grant requires also a lot of hard work. So yeah, let's get in touch so we can work on these things. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Also, Frida has posted the link on the book on the of healthcare on blockchain. Make sure you click the link. Go check it out and also buy the book. Thank you so much for attending today's session. I think if there's nothing else, we can adjourn the meeting.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye now. Thank you, Moremi, for listening.